I mean, it's a wonderful, obviously, huge part of our history, wonderful story. I get to play Jimmy Doolittle, who's a genius pilot. He is a daredevil. He's a warrior, and he made this all happen. So it's wonderful, and to work with Roland and the whole cast, it was just a great night. And then to meet, you know, the remaining heroes of the Battle of Midway. Who knows what the world would have been like had these brave men not had the courage to go in there. It was a suicide mission. The part I played, Jimmy Doolittle, it was a suicide mission. They didn't have enough. They only had enough fuel to get to Tokyo and to China. They couldn't get back, so they thought they were going to die at sea or die somewhere else. And some of them did, but they just had the courage to do it. And it was all volunteer too. This is a passion project for Roland. He wanted to do it for 20, 30 years, and he finally got it made. And he was a lot of fun to work with. You know, he's obviously very passionate. He's an auteur, and so it'll be fun to watch him watch it.
I mean, this movie is fantastic. It's something I am immeasurably proud to be a part of. I think it's coming at such an incredibly perfect time as well, right on the heels of Veterans Day. The message of heroism and courage can't be overstated. Like this movie sort of has something for everybody. Anytime you can be a part of something with this, significance in terms of like the historical context, it's an incredible honor. Roland and his entire team and this just like a gigantic ensemble of wonderful actors with really, passionate performances. It's the perfect group that was put together to tell this particular story. I'm unendingly grateful to their sacrifice and their courage and bravery for all of our benefit. Just thank you.
It's really powerful. It's an epic telling of a very famous moment in American naval history. It is a story I didn't know so well until I got the role, and then I did some research and realized that there was a huge amount to read up upon this moment. We're all playing very famous, heroes who are all played an integral part in turning a very unlikely battle to their favor. It's almost difficult to even process what these guys were doing, and some of them were extremely young. In fact, the majority of them were late teens, and it's represented in this movie very clearly. You see the youth, they went to war. They knew very little apart from leaving school and joining the Navy or the Army, and they gave their lives. A lot of them did give their lives for their country. We try to be as real and honest to the story as we possibly can. What is amazing on a fun note, if you can say that, is the incredible air fight battles, which can only be done by somebody like Roland Emmerich, who absolutely gives this story an incredible, dynamic feel. So I think people are in for a powerful story, an emotional story, but also a great ride.
So excited. I got my family here, my mother and father, for the first time. I've never brought them to a premiere, and this is the first time. So for me, this is like something else. These are real men, and these are people that change our lives, especially for people in the United States and worldwide. So we're telling their story, it's their honor, and it's theirs. So it's for them, but it's also for us. Yeah, well, I play Lieutenant Clarence Harold Dickinson, and he was a dive bomber during the Battle of Midway, so he sacrificed everything. I mean, these men flew out not knowing if they were going to die or not. They didn't have enough gas for the planes, and they knew that they would never make it back, so they had to ditch their planes, knowing that, and still going to fight. That's true heroism. Oh man, thank you for your service, and my heart goes out to you. I wouldn't have the world I have today if it wasn't for you, and it still is such an honor to know the men that I've met and the men that serve today. So yeah.
No, it was such an intense shoot, and we tried so hard. We put so much effort into it. There's such kind of responsibility that comes with this territory. So to now be here and be able to show it to people, and it is exciting. Words don't do do these men justice when we talk about words like courage and sacrifice and bravery and strength.
All these guys are real people.
To be someone born in the 80s and speak about it in 2019, I only know them as sort of abstract concepts. I've never been tested enough to even know if I'd be capable of such things. In all the different armies in the war, there were men like this, and stories of heroism and bravery and sacrifice. And I think that's something that's special about this movie as well, that it respects the Japanese soldiers as much as the Americans, and I think that's important.
It was an honor for many reasons. You know, I think that to be a part of this incredible cast and to work under Roland's incredible direction and to tell a story that is so important felt really special and really humbling. You know, this was actually not a story that I knew too much about, and so I was educated in the process. And you know, to get to play Bruno was incredible, just because I feel like he's an unsung hero in a lot of ways, and to give him that moment is really amazing. And to tell again a very important story was a pleasure for me. Again, my father served in the military and served in the Navy, so it's really meaningful to our family. And I think that, you know, to get to tell it on a scale like this, in a film like this, introduce it to a new audience as well, is an honor. And having these servicemen and women here tonight makes it all the better. And hopefully we've done this story justice.
Well, it's like you take on a huge responsibility, that's for sure. We started actually shooting in Pearl Harbor, where you like everything what's like kind of important about the story is like they have this memorials there, so you go there, and it's very kind of emotional. Well, for me it was important, you know, not only to tell the battle, but like kind of start with the attack on Pearl Harbor, because that's in a weird way the biggest comeback story of World War II, and it was amazing how these guys pulled it off. That being totally the underdogs, like kind of in this huge battle, you know, like beating the mighty Japanese army. We took a really interesting approach. We like kind of tried to really stay very close at the characters and show how they had fears, and they were like real human beings, because, you know, it was very important to me.
Both grandfathers served, my father served. All of a sudden you start adding it up, because it was you know, the first generation to without the draft and without being called to service. So I take this with such responsibility, and the fact that this story like this has never been told. So that meant a tremendous amount. My wife grew up in communist Poland, and her father was a member of Solidarity. And when we started, when my wife and I started dating, and I met my now father-in-law, he would talk about what freedom means and how we have no concept of it, meaning you don't know what it is until you either don't have it or it's being threatened. And that was really, so when you talk to these servicemen and women, especially during World War II, where the world was changing so quickly, and it really could have gone the other way. Well, they're in for a ride. You know, that's the thing. Nothing is too big for Roland. He's so cool and calm about everything. At the end of the day, he really knows that it's about people, it's about characters. So he worked really hard with our writer, Wes Took, and creating these, you know, really retelling these stories and really getting inside these men's hearts.